Welcome back. Tesla reportedly wants its American-made cars to be built without any Chinese parts. The Wall Street Journal, citing unnamed sources, says the electric car maker has already started the transition and aims to have it complete within the next year or two. Joining us for Insight is Curt Hopkins, the CEO of MCQ Markets. Good to have you with us today, Curt. Thanks for joining.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Sure. First, your reaction to this report.
Well, I think it's very interesting news that Tesla will be going all-American in their U.S. plants. I mean, it's not surprising, given I think that the trend is very much that way, that there's a lot of concern about Chinese-made componentry and sophisticated American manufactured products. We've seen this previously in the telecoms industry. Now we're seeing it in other industries that are critical. And so I just think it's a general macro trend. But what's particularly fascinating about Tesla is they're having this dual track strategy, because they obviously manufacture lots of cars in China. And so in China, they're going with a Chinese part maximization approach, and they're doing the same thing in the US, really, where they're trying to get rid of Chinese-made components in the U.S. manufacturing process as well. So it's very interesting to see how Tesla's going to be handling this big challenge.
Certainly. Do you expect prices to be impacted if Tesla does complete this mission that it's got?
Well, I would think in the U.S., certainly, one of the driving factors of this is tariffs. And so we also know that the U.S. Has struggled in the past couple decades to be competitive with Chinese products, given the U.S. cost base. So I suspect, it's quite possible that these components will become more expensive to manufacture in the U.S. and therefore drive up cost for Teslas. Yeah, so that very well could happen. But let's see, because the more volume you push through, and obviously these suppliers will not only be supplying Tesla, but they'll be supplying other EV car manufacturers in the U.S. as well. So it's quite possible that over time that those volumes will drive costs down.
And in that sense, what ripple effects, aside from the cost, if any, do you expect within the industry?
I think the big issue we have in the industry with the tariffs and the stated intent of the Trump administration to bring manufacturing jobs back home is how fast can that really occur? And we do know in the automotive industry, it's, tens of billions of dollars to rehome these factories, and that there's not the workforce also available, and that the U.S. is not necessarily a great place to manufacture cheaper cars, given the cost and sophistication of the U.S. labor force. So I think that one of the big challenges just generally is going to be how much capacity is there really in the U.S. to bring back. But I do think that Tesla is going to make a concerted effort here in the next 2 years to get this done.
And will their role here potentially lead the way and shaping other companies' actions on this front?
I mean, Tesla is unique because they have such a big manufacturing base in both China and the U.S., so they're trying to play both parties and be friends to both governments. So it's really going to be interesting to see how they handle this. They're obviously one of the more fleet of foot parties as well, so they're not like the older automotive manufacturers that tend to be slower and more turgid. So these guys can move faster, and we've seen it many times. So I think Tesla will lead the way, and I think the rest of the industry may very well follow, seeing if Tesla's being able to do this successfully or not.
Now, your company, MCQ Markets, helps people invest in collector cars. Could Tesla's supply changes make it harder or easier to get parts for rare or collectible cars in the future?
Well, I think with the collector cars, we're dealing with stuff that goes back, a few years, and so I don't think we'll see a dramatic impact. I mean, what we are seeing right now, in the higher end of the collector car is that prices are rising, they are going up, valuations are going up. Simply because the limited editions are very popular, especially of like the Ferraris that sit behind me now. As we're entering into this hybrid era of supercars and sports cars, we're starting to see the older cars have quite a bit of attraction to collectors, and therefore the valuations are going up.
So how much of a risk is China and the geopolitical tensions there with the U.S. for the auto industry?
I think it's very significant, but what I would say is a possible greater disruption is with respect to the Canadian and the Mexican and American situation, with the agreement that used to be known as NAFTA. So that is where I think there could be potential greater disruption, simply because those supply chains are so integrated for the U.S. and making cars specifically for the U.S. But generally in EV, the tech stack, so the combination of all this really high-end technical equipment is super important. And this is an issue that the U.S. has, that the Chinese have really moved away and become a much more strong in the EV space. Their EV technology is much better than we see on the market in the U.S. And so the U.S. has catching up to do. So I think it's really important that this investment is made and the U.S. continues to invest in EVs to keep up and surpass the Chinese.
With that in mind, finally, any final remarks for lawmakers and for individual buyers out there looking to buy a car?
Well, it's very interesting seeing the disruption of tariffs to the industry. And so there may be opportunities for, buyers to pick up cars that are less valued than they were recently. So that's great. And of course, our big point always is, the collector car industry is amazing. It's, for the last 10 years, collector cars have returned 185%. And so we hope that continues. And obviously, we're giving investors the opportunity to buy a share in some of the most iconic cars out there. So we encourage everyone to come and check us out at mcqmarkets.com.
Certainly, the numbers look promising, and those cars are stunning behind you. So thanks for giving us a little sneak peek there.
Yeah. Okay.
Curt Hopkins, good to speak with you.
Okay, thank you very much.